I was in the shower the other day just thinking about what videos I want to make, what videos I want to do, all that sort of a thing. And I thought, I document so much of my life. A lot of my life is written down. I have vlogs documenting what I do. I have videos of the things I've done. I have journals dating back years. I have to-do lists. I have like physical calendars. I have my book tracking apps. I have my book journal. I have like all this stuff that I do documented. But the thing that I've spent the most time on for the last couple years, my phone, I have no documentation of how I've used it. It's just in my brain. And I thought in a couple years, 10 years, 20 years, when this is more of an interesting thing to people, historians, you know, to remember how, you know, people use their phones, it would be fun to have some sort of documentation of how I use my phone at this time and age. I have been going on a journey recently trying to spend less time on my phone, so I'm going to tell you about the apps I'm using, kind of a brief history of their usage and how I've used them in my life, and how I've been trying to spend less time on them if I've wanted to spend less time on them, and just like how my relationship with my phone is in general right now. So basically what I did is I wrote down a list of everything that I have on my phone. I didn't write down exactly how I've used them because, you know, I remember at this moment, but I can't use my phone and show you physically because you are my phone. So I'm going to screenshot the app or whatever and kind of show you my home screen and stuff while I'm talking about it. So you have a visual representation of what I'm talking about. The first like little scroll bar at the bottom, which is the ones I use the most often, are my texting app, settings, Google Duo, which I think is like Google Meet now, I guess, and Spotify. Texting, I basically only text my boyfriend, my mom, and the family group chat talks a lot. I'm so bad at texting. I'm bad at responding to people. I get so anxious. I don't like texting people, but texting is there. So yay. For the settings, I basically just get into it when I need to. I think most people use their settings similarly, but you know, you open it when there's something wrong with your phone and you're trying to figure out something to change your setting. Settings on iPhone is so hard to navigate. It is not in like a comprehensible system. I don't understand settings on iPhone. I don't understand it on Samsung phones, to be fair. I just think settings aren't categorized very well. I like the search function. The search function is wonderful, but I never know how to get back to the place that I searched to, and so I have to keep searching when I wish I could just figure out where all the settings are. Then we have Google Duo. I used to use this like a whole lot. When I was in college, I would Google Duo my boyfriend because neither of us had an iPhone, so we couldn't do FaceTime. So we just like use Google Duo, and that was how we talked for like the majority of that year. And now I don't use it very often. I use it sometimes if like one of our signals isn't going through. I'll Google Duo him, but he's literally the only person I ever Google Duo. So then we have Spotify. Now this is before the Spotify Wrapped, but I do have an app that I use for Spotify to see my statistics because I like statistics because I'm a nerd. So I have Trackify, which I have on my phone. I like the desktop one better, but I never like am looking at it on my desktop, so I just use, you know, the app for it. I like looking at my stats for Spotify. I have completely murdered them this year. We'll see when when the Spotify Wrapped comes out, you know, in a month. I'll see just how bad it looks. But I've been using Spotify specifically this year. I've been listening to like normal music and stuff like that, but the way I've been using it primarily is as a way to go to sleep, because I figured out that sleep timer is a thing, and that's wonderful. And so I'll listen to the same song on repeat one for like 30 minutes because it just helps me calm down. And after like a couple months of doing this, I looked at my stats and I was like, oh my goodness, my top songs for this year and my top artists for this year are going to be ones that I have listened to on repeat one while I'm going to sleep. So it's not going to actually show me the songs that I've listened to for fun. My Wrapped is going to be the songs I listened to when I was going to sleep. And you know, at this point, I've kind of resigned myself to it. Whatever, I might do a full video on my actual Spotify statistics, like what I actually listened to this year, because I think it's interesting, just like the difference in data. Then we have my first little like box that I have at the top of my screen, and I labeled this one just stuff. This is stuff that I use pretty often, but it's not fun things. It's more like tools and like my clock and stuff like that. So the first one is my phone, which the phone app, you know, I call my boyfriend and my mom, and that's it. And then we have the camera app, and this I really only use to take photos of clouds and videos like this. And it's really loud in the basement, I'm sorry. When I got this phone, I really wanted one with a better camera because I really like taking pictures, and the phone I had before took fine pictures but not really good pictures. And then the phone I had before that was a flip phone, and on the flip phone it had the worst camera in the world. It took good pictures in full daylight, but any less than that, they were so grainy and terrible. I don't think I even have any of those pictures anymore because I had the great media wipe of last year where I accidentally deleted all the old photos that I had. So I don't have any photos, I think, from the flip phone. I have some from, no, I have a couple actually, but I have some from my old phone that I saved that I didn't have on my computer, so I'm glad I have some. Okay, then we have the App Store. I'm basically never on the App Store. Every once in a while I'll think, that would be an interesting app, and I download it, but I'm not a person to like peruse the App Store. My boyfriend does sometimes. He'll just like go on his phone and he'll just look up games, and I'm like, okay, have fun. Then we have my handy dandy clock, and that has my alarm, and that's it. I use it for timers, but I basically never click on the app except if I'm going on my alarm. I use the timer function on the bottom like panel to make a timer, unless it's like a really specific time that isn't on like that easy list. And then we have the notes, which I get on my notes and I write down like my shopping list, and I write down ideas and video ideas and all this stuff, and then I forget about my notes app for like 5 months, and then I come back on there and I'm like, oh my goodness, I wrote so much stuff down, and then I write more stuff down, and then I forget about my notes app for a while. Then we have my calculator. I use that very rarely, but I use it often enough that it's in that little box rather than in another later shelf thing that I have. And then I have my app that is for the flash drive that connects to my phone, that takes the photos from my phone, and then it connects to my computer. I love this little flash drive. It is wonderful. It is a revolution in my content making experience because I only have my phone, and my phone can't connect to my computer because I don't have a Apple computer. The Apple phones don't like to connect from the phone to the computer, and it's caused me so much mayhem, but I love this little app. It is wonderful. Editing me here, I totally forgot to tell you about an app. I was like looking through my phone while I was screen recording, and I saw that I completely forgot to talk about an app. So the ByTap app is an app that connects to these things, which are my tippity tappers. They're technically just called tappers, but they're from the company ByTap. And if you're my age, you probably have seen these in schools, but anyone else, you might not have seen these before. They are just little tappers. So you turn them on, and if you can hear, I have mine on a really low frequency, so it just goes tip, tap, tip, tap, a little bit slower than that. And these are supposed to help regulate your nervous system. So for me, I use them when I go to sleep, or if I'm like especially stressed out, they really help my brain just like calm down. So the app basically just connects to them and tells them how fast or slow to go, and if they're not connecting correctly, or if I push the button they don't turn on, I can connect them to the app, and then they work. And I love them so much, actually. I think I've been using them for a year or so. My mom got them for me, which I'm so grateful she did because they were kind of expensive, and they have helped me sleep so much because I used to have really bad insomnia. I still do have insomnia. If I don't have these, it's kind of hard to sleep. So they help me sleep, and that's great. Trackify, which I already talked about a little bit. I'm not really on this very much. I'm really only on it if I want to see what my top song for the year is, or I look at my songs that I've listened to most, and I'm trying to overtake the songs that I listened to on repeat one when I was a child, when I was like 15, because a lot of those songs are like Change My Clothes by Dream, which still a good song, but why did I listen to it like 400 times? I don't know. That was dramatic. Then we have Swift Alert, which I am basically never on unless there is a mastermind and I have the alerts on so I know when something's happening Taylor Swift related, and it's wonderful. I don't have to be on Instagram for that, which we'll get to that later. Then we have Noom, which is like a calorie tracking weight loss thing, which not great for my brain to track calories, so I'm not doing that, but I do use it as a way to track how much I weigh because it keeps track across time, and I like the way that the graph works. So I have it for that and nothing else. I'm trying not to be obsessed with that sort of a thing. Then the next little thing I have as an icon is my gospel library, which I use every single day to read my scriptures in the morning, and then I use it to read my scriptures with at night, and then conference. That one might be one of the ones I click on the most times during the day, besides like YouTube and stuff like that. So I have it as just its own icon, so I don't have to click into another sub menu to find it. Then the next little box that I have is called Things I Want to Spend My Time On. And the first one on there is Finch, which is my little self-care app. I love this little penguin. I don't think it's actually a penguin, but that's what it is to me because it doesn't fly. It's just this little bird, and you can make tasks, and then you can complete the task for the day, and then the bird goes on a little journey, and then it comes back and it tells you a little thing, and you earn little points. And the only way you can earn points to spend in the shop is by doing the things on the app that are good for you. So you can do your self-care habits, you can do meditation things, you can do breathing exercises, you can do journaling, you can do like all these things, and you earn points from that. You can't like buy anything on the app. You can buy like a membership kind of a thing for a year, which gives you the plus, which just gives you a couple more features, which really the only one I ever use is it gives you 2 different things, like treasure boxes you can open each day, and they have a new thing every month with a new theme, so you can get new like things for the house and new outfits and stuff like that. And I just think it's so fun. I don't know if I'm gonna pay for the full version next year. I might, but I really like it. I think it's really fun. I've liked it better than any other like self-care tracking app, just because it doesn't have any ads, it doesn't have any in-app purchases. Even the free version is very usable. I used the free version for like 5 months before I finally paid for it, because I was like, okay, I actually use this, and I like it a lot. And I like my bird. Her name is Ruby, and she's very cute. Then we have Libby, which is my library app, which you can get audiobooks and ebooks for free through your local library. And I love Libby. I use it all the time. Every single time I want to read a book, if I don't have the physical version, or if I just want to read an audiobook or something like that, I look on Libby first. It is wonderful. It is free. It's perfect. It supports a local library. It's wonderful. I love my Libby app. I don't think I have any books on it right now because I'm currently listening to War and Peace, which, oh my goodness, that's a whole nother thing, but I love using Libby. Then the next one we have is YouTube, which I use YouTube so much every single day, probably more than I should. The current hyperfixation I have right now is Hermitcraft. I'm watching all the new videos, and like the first videos of people and the second videos are now coming out. I think this is pre-filmed, so there might be a couple more videos out by now, but I love Hermitcraft. It is wonderful. It is like the cleanest, kindest Minecraft server on like the entire YouTube channels. I think there's a couple other ones, but that's the one that I watch. I got my whole family hooked on the Life series and then also Hermitcraft, so I feel so proud about that. The way that I've used YouTube in the past, which I think I'm going to talk about a little bit just because this is like how I use media. I didn't really watch YouTube a lot when I was younger. I had an iPod that could barely use the internet, and I would watch YouTube on this tiny little screen. It's a tiny little phone. I forgot that you could look up anything on YouTube, and so the only thing I ever watched was The Greatest Showman edits and High School Musical, because I was obsessed with High School Musical and I wanted to watch the movies and I couldn't because my mom didn't want me to watch them, and so I just had to look up clips on YouTube. And so I created this whole idea of what it was in my brain before I ever watched it, and then when I finally watched it I was like, oh, I put all these clips together in my brain wrong, so wrong. But that is how I watched YouTube first, and then I got a flip phone, and then one of the things I could do on my flip phone was YouTube, stupidly enough. And so I would listen to a bunch of music before I realized you could actually watch videos. And so I think that's how I started watching Hermitcraft. And then I watched Dream and his manhunts, and I don't know if I watched the Life series specifically. I think that was on my phone when I got a phone that I watched the Life series. I watched Dream and all his manhunts on this tiny little phone screen. I got obsessed with YouTubers. I watched a lot of JK Studios and the old Studio C. I went down so many rabbit holes on that tiny little flip phone screen. And then when I got my real phone, I started watching like other YouTubers. I watched booktubers eventually, and then here we are. That is how I've used YouTube in the past. Now I'm basically using it as things to listen to while I am at work. So a lot of them are things that I don't actually have to watch. I think Minecraft content is like the one thing I watch, that and Rachel Catherine's videos, because I love her videos. And then the rest of them are just like mostly just podcast stuff I listen to. Then I have my Patreon app, which is a glorified Jenny Nicholson watching app, because that's the only thing I'm subscribed to on Patreon is Jenny Nicholson. I love her videos. She's so funny. She's so sweet. She was one of the rabbit holes I went down earlier this year, was just watching all of her old videos. I love the way she thinks about things. I love her brain and how she discusses things and thinks about stuff. I don't agree with her 100%, but she's always entertaining, and I love the way that she talks about things. So love Jenny Nicholson. She's wonderful. But basically I only subscribe to her on Patreon. That's it. That's the only reason it's on my phone. Then we have Papa's Palateria and Papa's Pancakeria. These are my 2 phone games. I have like 3 phone games on my phone, and these are the 2 that are only on my phone because they're so nostalgic to me. Papa's Pancakeria was my favorite Paparia game when I was younger. I never got very far in it because I had to play it on the computer, and we could only play it like so much at a time when you're literally not very good at the game. And so I think I never made it past like day 30 or something like that. Whereas now I'm so many days into that game. I'm like on my year 2 of playing it on my phone, and I like playing these games as they go through the actual season. So I think right now I'm somewhere in Halloween. I should really catch up. We're closer to Thanksgiving, but I like playing them as the seasons go on and having like a festive fall game or a festive Christmas game to play as I have like go through the year. And they're not very long. Like once you get far enough in the game, you earn enough points to pass each one in like 10 in-game days, which takes about an hour and a half. And so you can just play it one a day for a couple weeks, and then you've gotten to the next season. So I really like playing those games. They're really fun. Goodreads, Storygraph, and Fable. Goodreads, I love Goodreads. Goodreads is my favorite. I know it's janky, I know it's dumb, I know it needs like a really good update, but I just love Goodreads. Even with everything that they do to actively make me not like it, it's just still my favorite one to go to. I prefer Goodreads to basically any other app. I think Storygraph might be the next one. The thing that might be killing my love for Goodreads is I can't scroll all the way to the bottom of my books anymore. I think I might have hit a limit where they're like, you have too many books, and so it won't show me all the books in order anymore on my phone, which is kind of a bummer because that was what was making me like it over Fable, because Fable would glitch in the middle too, and I couldn't scroll all the way down to the bottom of my reads, so I couldn't put them in like what actual date they were, because whenever you import anything from Goodreads to another one, it doesn't have the right dates, so you have to change them. That's why I don't like Fable as much. Fable is just too social media-y for me, so I don't like it as much. I still use it. I like the streak function on it. I like seeing the graphs that they have, and then Storygraph I think might actually be the best of both worlds because it does have good graphs, and I like the way it looks when you're scrolling through it. I like how detailed you can get in like what version of book you're reading. I do like Storygraph a lot. I don't like the way it looks as much. I like the vibes of Goodreads better. Can't tell you why, but I use all three of them because I like the differences in them, and I think eventually I might get rid of one or two as I come to know and like one better than the others, but we'll see. I'm only in like year 1 of using all of them, so I'll give it a couple years and then I might get rid of one of them. Then we have Audible and Kindle. I don't like Amazon, but I cannot deny that they have a good business model for the consumer. It's nice, I gotta say. So I'm currently using Audible to listen to War and Peace. I bought the book and I'm using it to listen to War and Peace because it's really hard to read the physical book of War and Peace. And then I have, the only subscription I have with Amazon is, well actually, I am paying for Amazon Prime right now. Not paying, I have a free trial for it right now. So I guess technically I have that subscription, but I have my Amazon Kindle subscription, Kindle Unlimited, which is nice because a lot of my favorite authors have their books on there. And I know they don't get paid as much through there, which is why I don't love Kindle very much. Same with Audible. Authors don't get paid very well on Audible. So whenever possible, I listen or read the book that way, and then my plan is I'm gonna go buy the books in, you know, a physical copy or give them some money in some other way because I don't like the business model that Amazon or Kindle has. But when you're poor, sometimes you gotta save some money and read a book. The only reason really that I have Kindle is because there's some authors' books on there that I can't read in any other way. Jeff Wheeler, he has a ton of books, so many books, more than I can physically buy to read them as they come, not as they come out. I bet I could buy them as they come out, but I can't like backlog buy all of his old books and read them. So Kindle Unlimited is really nice for that, so I can read his books because he has so many and I love his books, but I can't buy all of them right now. Eventually I will, but I can't buy all of them right now. And that is the end of my things I want to spend my time on widget. And now we go to the next one, which is just called Google, and it has all of my Google things in there. So we have Google Calendar, Gmail, Gmaps, Safari, Google Rewards, and Google Drive, which is not installed on my phone. So Google Calendar I use basically only to put my dentist appointments in, and then Gmail I use pretty often actually. I have a couple like email alerts that come through. I should really honestly unsubscribe from a lot of junk mail I'm getting, but whatever. And then we have Google Maps, which I use constantly and all the time because I have a terrible sense of direction. And then we have Safari, which is, I like using that more than I like using Google Chrome, just because I know everything tracks your data, but Safari feels like it tracks your data less. Probably doesn't, but whatever. Then we have Google Rewards, which basically just asks you questions based on your habits on your phone and tracks you across things and then asks you questions. And it's invasive, but I'm like, if you're tracking my data, you might as well pay me for it, so yay. Then we have Google Drive, which is not installed because I install it if I need to read a PDF on my phone, which is very rarely, so it's not installed. Now we scroll to the next slide of my phone and we have the first widget, which is called Probably Useful. These are things that I literally only ever click into this like once or twice a year. I rarely, if ever, use anything in this little widget, but they're all installed because they're probably useful. So I have voice memos. I basically never use that. I never use a voice memo. I literally just use my camera. And then we have my compass, which is not installed. I think if I ever needed my compass, I would want it to be installed because that would mean that I'm stuck in the wilderness. So I might need to install that. And then we have my weather app, which I actually, I forgot. I have a whole slide that I didn't write down. If you swipe all the way to the other side, I have little widgets in my phone. So I have my weather widget. I have what percentage all of my phone things are at. I used to have one for Libby, but I think I just got rid of that. Right now I have my 25 days of Christmas widget. I used to have Pinterest, but I got rid of that one because it started showing me dumb things that I didn't want to see. And then I have, I don't even remember. What is on that widget? See, this is why I wrote things down, because I can't remember right now. Spotify. So it tells me the song that I listened to the most recently, which is kind of fun. I can see like my moods at different times just looking at that side panel. My side panel is one of my favorite things that I've actually like created. It's fun. I have my Audible widget because it's, for some reason, I don't like going on the Audible app to play the book. It's nicer to use the little widget. So the weather app in this little thing, I rarely ever use it because I literally just scroll to the widget and click on it. They're using horns out there. Lovely. Then we have my contacts, which I basically never use that because I just go to my phone to use the contacts. I don't know why they're two separate things. Then we have my Find My, which I only ever use if I've lost my AirPod and I have no idea where it is. And then we have my passwords, which obviously I'm not showing all that. Then we have my Gospel Tools, which isn't installed. This is for my church, where you can see like the members in your ward and what ward you're in. I don't have it installed right now because I don't have a calling, so I'm not like needing to use it all the time, but it's on my phone because I will need it at some point. And then we have a banking app, and then we have files. Again, I don't really ever use because I don't really have any files on my phone. Reminders. I literally never use that app. I should mess around with it and see if I like it. It could be useful. I forgot it was even on my phone until I was doing this. Then we have my health app. I never use that one. I used to have a widget on my phone, but then for some reason it stopped tracking my sleep correctly. I don't know what happened. Just one day it stopped tracking it. And so I used to have the sleep widget on my phone, and then it stopped working and it would just say, not working, not working. And I'm like, okay. So I got rid of that widget and I just actually have the icon there. So I have two icons for the health app in my phone. Why? I don't know. And then we have FaceTime, which no one that I talk to very often uses FaceTime, so it's not out. I don't think I've ever actually used the FaceTime app on my phone. Then we go to the next one, which is my Monies app. We have my banking app, we have Venmo, we have my wallet, we have the Chipotle app, which I actually use rather often because I go to Chipotle rather often and it has the easiest app to use. I like the Chipotle app. And then we have my Walmart app, which is not installed. And whenever I need it, it's not installed, which is dumb. So I need to install it. And then we have another banking app, which is not installed because I don't use that one very often. Then we have the Amazon app, which I use sometimes. It like goes from being not installed to being installed. I had the thing on my phone where it would like uninstall things that you don't use very often, and then it drove me crazy because every time I wanted to use it, I had to install it. And so I turned it off. So a lot of things that I haven't used since then haven't been installed again. So I just need to install some of them. And then we have my phone provider app, and then we have Indeed Jobs because job hunting. And then we have Fandango Rewards, which I barely ever use because I never really watch movies. I use it only if there's like a Taylor Swift movie I want to get tickets for, or if there's like a movie that I want to see, but I'm not going to see it on a Tuesday, which is the cheap day in our theaters. So I just buy the tickets online, or if we're going to go really quickly and I want to make sure we get the seat, something I use it very rarely, or I use it to check like movie times and stuff like that. Then we have PayPal, and then we have ZipRecruiter. Okay, then we have my health app that I actually use. This is the one that's on my phone screen just by itself. I use this one to track my periods. I use it not really to track my sleep. I use it sometimes I'll go in and I'll click on the anxiety and depression quiz and just see how I'm feeling. I have like records of how I'm feeling across time for that. But really what I use it for is the period tracking because game changer. Honestly, I had such weird periods the last 2 years-ish, and ever since I got my phone, I started tracking it, and I'm so grateful for that I got in that habit, because if I wasn't in that habit, then I wouldn't know for real that my period was messed up, and so it helped validate me in my brain to know, okay, I'm not going crazy, like this is real. So anyway, it's gone back to normal, I'm feeling better, but it was crazy for a little while. Now I have my very last widget app thing. This one is called Don't Waste Your Time, which tells you that my games are in here. So we have the City 2048. This is basically just 2048, but you make little buildings. I was trying to find one that reminded me of the apps that I had on my flip phone. I'll tell you about those really quick because those are how I used to use my flip phone. So I had a pinball machine app, which I loved, but it started like glitching my little flip phone out. I couldn't handle it anymore, so I had to stop playing that one. And then I had a 2048, but it was buildings, and that one was lovely. It was so wonderful. I wish I could play that one again. I miss like the graphics and like the cities that it made. I think about that one all the time. And then I had it was like a swinging game, so you would like connect to a point and swing and let go, and connect to a point and swing and let go. That one was really fun because you just push the one button, and I got really good at that one. And then I stopped playing it because it kind of got boring. They had like the weirdest app store. They had like apps you could download. So they had like picture stickers, but they were like really dumb, and they had like just like really weird things on the app store for that. But you wouldn't buy any of them. They were all free, and they were the dumbest apps. It was fun. I miss those days. I wish I had such a small app store and you only had 5 things to pick from. Made it much more fun, I'll say. Then I have an app called Reverse Color, but it's basically just, oh, I don't remember what my boyfriend calls it. It's the game it's the game where you like flip over colors. You put your color down and then it flips over all those colors, and then your partner puts their one on, it flips over the colors, and you're trying to get as many colored tiles as you can across the whole board. And my boyfriend and I have been playing this for, I don't know how long I've had it on my phone, 8 months, something like that. We've been playing it and he wins almost every time, but I've won a couple times, and that's very fun. Then we have Prime Video, which I don't think is downloaded right now, actually. Wait, no, it is downloaded. We have Prime Video, and that was my Summer I Turned Pretty watching app. Yay! I think there's a couple other things I want to watch on there before my free trial ends, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And then we have my Pinterest, which I use my Pinterest so often. Like, I'll go through phases where I won't touch Pinterest, and then I'll come back and I'll just pin and have so much fun pinning and going through all my boards, and then I won't do it anymore because it feels like I've seen everything. So right now I'm in a Pinterest phase. Discord, which I basically only have downloaded on my phone so I don't forget my password, how to get into it again, because that was a whole thing. I have a friend on Discord that I can only talk to through Discord, so that's the only reason I have it. I don't think I use it any other time. Then we have the Lifetime TV app. That is my Married at First Sight watching app, and it's not downloaded right now because I haven't watched Married at First Sight since last Christmas when I was doing like a ton of rapping and this and that, and I watched like a full season of Married at First Sight within like 3 days while I was doing like all this Christmas stuff. And then ever since then, it just feels like a Christmas thing, and I can't watch Married at First Sight, and I could actually probably start watching it now because I've been wanting to. I haven't downloaded it again to watch yet. Then we have Stardew Valley. This one is my don't waste your time on it because that is my biggest time waster app on this phone. Ever since Instagram has been deleted, I have been using just so much Stardew. It is so fun. But my problem is I'll get like in my headspace where I'm like, I have to accomplish this task. It feels like a real life goal. I need to get this done. And then once I accomplish the task, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I can get off the app now. But that'll take up like 10 hours of my time to accomplish the task in the game. And then I'll waste 10 hours of my life. Not waste. It's really fun. I really like Stardew Valley. That's the reason why it's still on my phone. If I didn't enjoy my time playing it, it would be deleted, which I've done with many an app, so we'll get into that. Xmas 2025, this is, I think, the most recent thing I've put on my phone, and it's just a countdown to Christmas. Yay! Then we have YouTube Studio, which is in there because I tend to go through and overanalyze things, and so it's in there so I don't click on it too much each day, because that's not very good for my brain to look at things and see, oh, are people talking about me? Do people like me? You know. Okay, now I have not downloaded Instagram. I don't have Instagram on my phone anymore. I tried to do all the crippling things that you could possibly do to make that less fun for myself, because I wanted it on my phone, because I still wanted to post pictures and stuff, and I just never would, because every time you get on Instagram you just immediately get sucked in and then you forget what you're doing. And so I just straight up had to delete it from my phone because the timers didn't work. You've been on here for so much today, do you want to get off? And you're like, no, give me more time. And it's so easy to just get back on it. And so I only can look it up in Safari, and that still has been too much, like too much time spent on Instagram. Even though it's so crippled and it's so boring, it's so addictive. And so I crippled it even more because you can write a thing, there's like just an option you can toggle to put a password on it, and then you can make it so it's blocked, like completely blocked once you're done with your time limit. And that doesn't completely block it because I know the password. I can put the password in, but it adds an extra step, and I have to be like, oh, I have to put a password in? Oh, you're right, I shouldn't do this right now. It adds just enough steps that I can't, it's not as easy to get through. So I've actually been only spending about 10 minutes a day on Instagram. I'll look at everything, I'll look at the stories, I'll look at the posts, and then it'll say, you've had enough time today. And I'm like, you're right, I have. Sometimes at the end of the day, I'll ask for like 15 more minutes and I'll be on it for 15 more minutes. But still, only being on it for 25 minutes a day, that's revolutionary. Like, that is so much better than it used to be. So I'm proud of that. Then we have other apps that I've like downloaded and deleted over the years. So I'll give you like a short rundown of this. So we have Welcome to Everdell, Space Team, and Wavelength. And these 3 apps are things that my boyfriend had me download at one point to play as like party games, and then I just deleted them. And if I want to get them again, I'll download them again. But it's just something I didn't want to keep on my phone, keeping up space. We have Kobo Books and audiobooks, and then Deseret Bookshelf. These 2 are like other audiobook things I was looking at, but both of them required a subscription that I didn't really want to pay, and then I didn't also like the amount of books I could read. I was like, it's fine. I don't really need this. I might do the Deseret Bookshelf at some point, because that one, it looked fine. I just can't pay for that many things, you know? Oh, another thing I don't have on my phone right now is Disney Plus, which I'm probably gonna put back on my phone because there's like 5 things on Disney Plus I want to watch within the next like 2 months. So it'll probably go back on my phone pretty soon. I want to do a Percy Jackson rewatch before the next season comes out. I'm so excited. So excited. We have Spec Drums EDU, and this one is another thing that my boyfriend had me download, and then I ended up deleting it. It was like it like connected to this thing that he found at DI, so we were trying to see if it worked, and it did. And then he gave it to someone else, so I got rid of the app. This was something I was trying to find, like, I guess I was looking for a Stardew Valley-esque game without having to buy a Stardew Valley. So I was looking for Tsuki's Odyssey, and this one's an idle farming game. I don't like idle games. I don't like ones that have to run in the back of my head, where I have to remember to click on it in 8 hours or 30 minutes or whatever and get the carrots. It was cute, but it wasn't cute enough to keep me. I had Lake, a coloring book for adults. This one was fine, but my problem was I don't like coloring on my phone, I guess. It's not as fun as it used to be when I was younger, and it was just glitchy enough that it wasn't fun, and I didn't love the coloring pages that they had. So if I ever wanted to get another coloring book, I would get that one again, but as it was, I didn't need it on my phone because I wasn't using it. We have Webtoon, which I had downloaded because I was reading this one thing. It was actually pretty interesting, but I just don't like the format of Webtoon. It's not fun. I don't like it with my brain. I don't like the scrolling, the constant scrolling. I don't like the way it looks. I think if the Webtoons were in a comic book, I would be happy to read them. I just don't like the format of Webtoon. I had Joma, which was a screen time blocker. I was trying to do everything to block Instagram, but Joma was weird because it had enough clicky button things that it was annoying, but it wasn't enough to actually stop me. The paid version was like too much, and then at one point I had to sign back in, and it wouldn't let me sign back in, and so it locked the thing that was locked. And so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna delete it. And they're like, if you delete it, then you can't get back into your account. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I deleted it, and it didn't end up messing up anything on my phone, but it was just, I don't know, I didn't really enjoy that one. Philo, which I think is like a live TV thing, and I downloaded that just to watch the VMAs, and then I deleted it again. We have Notion, which I used for a little bit. I just don't like having to sign into something to use it, and then also it required Wi-Fi, so I was like, I'll just use my notes app. I think if I use Notion on my computer, I might like it, but I don't care as much. It's too button clicky for me. I don't like having to make my own websites, I guess. I like something that's already made for me, and my notes app is. We have a bunch of movie tracker things. I don't have them all written down, but I was trying to find a good movie tracker, kind of like the same way that they have like Goodreads. I was basically looking for Goodreads, but for movies, and I couldn't find one that I liked, and so I'm not tracking my movies. So that's fun. I wanted to just so I would know like what I watched and when, kind of the same way I do with books, but none of them that I found had a good like way of using them. I didn't like the, what is it called, the format of the websites. I didn't like the way they looked. Whatever, there might be one that I like at some point. I might keep looking. There might be a new one. Then there's a couple games that I used to play. The most notable ones is Fruit Merge. I really liked this game, but I had too many ads, and then I just stopped playing it at one point. But it's basically where you're trying, it's like 2048, but it's dropping down like balls from the ceiling. You're trying to make them as small as possible and get the big ones, and it's really fun, but it was too glitchy at some points, and there's too many ads, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. I had Threads at one point, and I don't like social media, so I deleted Threads again. And then the other game that it's basically Stardew Valley-esque, but before I ever played Stardew Valley, was Dreamdale Fairy Adventure. This game was so fun. It had too many ads. I was considering buying like the free version, but it was literally the price of Stardew Valley. This was before I was thinking about getting Stardew Valley, but it was too much money to pay for no ads on this game. And then they started like ruining their own game by adding in timers. You know what I said about timers, not liking to have to go back to the game at a certain point to pick up the things again? I hate doing that. I liked the way the game worked. I liked having to do the farming and grabbing the stuff and then buying the things. I thought that was so much fun. I think if they got rid of the stupid timers, I would play it again. But they had timers on everything, and some of them were like 20 minutes long, and I'm like, I don't want to wait 20 minutes for this to be done. I don't care if it's like a slow moving bar, that's fine. But I hate seeing that there is a timer. That drives me crazy. Anyway, that wasn't fun. There was also like a cooldown. That was the annoying part. There was a cooldown before you could put more things in it to make it work again. And I was like, absolutely not. Just you can give me a long amount of time before it's done, but don't give me a timer until I can put more in there. That's stupid to me. And then I have a bunch of other like things that I had on my phone and I deleted, but I just don't have them anymore because it was like more than a year ago, and so I don't really need to talk about it, but there was quite a few. So if anyone's interested, I can go through and talk about those that I used to have on my phone and things I might put back on my phone. But for now, we're gonna call this the end of the video because my voice is dying. But that's basically how I've used my phone this year. Other ways I've tried to make it so I'm on my phone less are I've made it like my home screen doesn't have any of the things I like to click on. So I have YouTube on my home screen, but other than that, I don't have any games or anything that I click on to like mess around with. I have to go to another screen, and adding in more things I have to do to get to something to waste my time on makes me think about it more. So that helps. I have my gospel library pretty big, so I see that. That helps remind me to read my scriptures. I've been trying really hard to be conscious about my cell phone usage because I don't like being on my phone very much. Like, it's so useful. It's so useful, but it's also so addicting and so hard to get off of once you're in the zone, you know? So anyway, that's how I use my phone in 2025. Sorry, I like put my knees up because like my legs are kind of dying because they're cramped beneath me. I am excited for the end of the year. I'm excited for Christmas time. I'm probably gonna watch a lot more shows and movies and stuff like that. I think I might do this again next year to see like what I've changed on my phone, if my phone has changed at all. So anyway, I will see you next year for the next what I've done on my phone, how I've been using my phone, and hopefully I have figured out a way to be fine with Instagram. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one, which should be at some point. I have a lot of things planned, but none of them filmed, so we'll see. Anyway, goodbye. Mwah!